Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're tuning in from and whenever you're tuning in. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Wednesday, January 17th. Happy hump day. Hope you're doing well. We're going to get started with today's live stream here in just a moment. We'll give it another minute or so for people to jump on. We're going to be going over a market update, and then we'll take a look at any kind of ticker requests for the public, for all of you on YouTube. So just sit tight and we'll get started here momentarily. Like I said, give it another minute or so and let us know where you're tuning in from. I see we have quite a few people joining the live stream. Welcome, welcome. If you could smash the like, I would appreciate it. Help support me in the channel. And you can share the video link with anybody last minute who can jump on, and we'll get started here in about 30 seconds or so. Also, if anybody does have any questions and it's not pertaining to any particular stock or crypto or ticker, you can also ask any questions as well, and I'll jump into the chat here at the end of the live stream. All right, let's get started. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, everybody. It's Rod with Pow Group. Hope you're doing well. As I mentioned, it's Wednesday, January 17th, and we're going to do a market update video and ticker requests. Also, if you hear something in the background, it's because my girlfriend bought me a new foot massager. It's pretty awesome. I've got it under my desk right now. It's got heat, massage, 3 different types of modes, and yeah, it's pretty awesome sitting at the desk. I usually sit down a lot, especially when I'm making these videos. Sometimes I stand up. I have a stand-up desk as well, but definitely makes sitting a lot more enjoyable. But let me know if you've got a foot massager under your desk. But we'll jump into it. Make sure to smash the like, as I mentioned earlier. I would appreciate it. It helps support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll jump into the ticker requests at the end, but we'll go through a quick market update, my thoughts and opinions on the broader market, crypto, MJ space, some individual tickers as well. Before we jump to all that and more, though, as I mentioned, you can give us a subscribe, you can tick the bell, you'll be notified on any future live streams similar as this, and then any future videos that I post. And you can also give us a follow over on X. Thanks so much for all the followers recently. I've been noticing a ton of people following over there on X, so I appreciate that. For those of you that are not already following, you can do so by typing in @GroupPow, which is the handle for that. So I'm going to be using that as my social media platform of choice going forward. So we'll jump into the crypto space here at the moment. So we do have 15-minute consolidation across most of our major names. If we take a look at Bitcoin, it's a daily inside bar and tightening range compared to yesterday. So we have resistance at 43,563 and support at 42,028. And we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, leading to daily oversold conditions on the RSI, which is something similar, which we could potentially see happen for the S&P 500 as well. So we'll take a look here at the moment, and if you remember, the ETFs just went live, but typically what happens is we see a buy the rumor, sell the news, and exactly what I predicted happened. We would see a slight uptick in price on the announcement of the ETFs getting approved, but then ultimately we would come back down and see a sell the news event and price correction. And that's exactly what we got, right? We went up, little over $1,000, and then price cratered back down, right? So this is the quote unquote sell the news, buy the rumor, the sell the news, perfect example of that, right? When something we knew it was almost right down to the day, right? It was January 10th, like it was right down to the exact day. We even knew that it could be after the stock market closed around 5 p.m. Eastern time, and that's exactly what we got. So sometimes, when something seems too good to be true, or a lot of people are on one side of the fence, yes, you want to take the contrarian view, but in this instance it was so obvious, right? And then usually, if you recall what happens with an ETF, right, there's never really been an ETF that has failed with regards to, a commodity or something like that. If given enough time, your time horizon, usually we start to see some great returns through an ETF, an exchange-traded product, right, exchange-traded fund. So with an ETF, yes, it makes it more accessible. Yes, it makes it more easy to purchase within an account, right? It's already in your stock brokerage account. You don't have to go sign up for another exchange. But just like what happened with the gold ETFs when they launched, we didn't see, prices go to the moon that day or the day after, right? We had some consolidation, some correction over about a period of a month or two. And that's what I think could be shaping up here. We got 14 days left in this monthly candle for Bitcoin. And I think with this huge upper wick and potential reversal candle here, bearish reversal candle, we could come down and see monthly consolidation over the next month or two. And then what I think would happen, in order to start monthly consolidation, we would need to lose the low of last month there at 37,618. It's possible, but I think the most likely scenario is that we see monthly consolidation next month, and then we tighten up, we back test those monthly EMAs, which would just be healthy around 33,000, and then set another monthly higher low, and then into March where we see the Fed's cutting rates potentially, first time cutting rates and turning a little bit more dovish. Then we could see that ignite the markets as well. And we know that the Bitcoin halving is coming up in April, and we're seeing tons of IPOs as well in the crypto space. So I think, like I said, we could just see a little bit more downside over the next month or so, and then leading into March with the rate cuts and then the halving in April, I think that's when we're really going to see that final blow off top moment and euphoria in the market. But we'll just take a look at some of our crypto names on the day today, movers and shakers. We have Hex, Ape, and Cell leading the bull list, and on the decline we have ARB, ETC, and CELO. So a little bit of a mixed bag out there today. Also, I wanted to highlight that XRP is about to melt faces any week now. We're very close to seeing the 50 weekly and the 200 weekly moving average cross. The last time that happened, price went from about 17 cents all the way up to $2, and this time we have legal clarity, something that Bitcoin and Ethereum don't even have. Really, realistically, the only crypto in the USA with legal clarity from the courts, right? And it in and of itself is not a security. So this is going to absolutely melt faces over, like I said, over the next couple of months. I would say sometime between now and April and May, we're probably going to see massive price appreciation where we could even test new all-time highs. The all-time high and potentially new all-time highs on XRP. So it's looking really, really good here in terms of crypto. But like I said, don't be surprised if we do tighten up and see a little bit more downward pressure over the next month or so as we lead into March with the potential of rate cuts and then the halving in April. And then I think it's going to be the phenomenon of sell in May and go away. I think that's when we're going to start to see the top of the broader market, bull market, be in. I think we're going to see tech stocks see their blow off top and their top long-term top being set, and then potentially entering a bear market into the summer. And then I think into 2025 is where we should start to really see things pick up to the downside, and then potentially spilling into 2026. But traditional markets definitely due for some serious consolidation and bear market the next time we start one. And we're not going to be confident that a bear market has started until we confirm another monthly downtrend, which we did here, right back in, we had a lower high and then a lower low. So in the month of May 2022, we confirmed a monthly downtrend there, and then we've seen another lower high and another lower low. But as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, I took the .com fractal from when the price peaked in the RSI peaked in 1996, and then the price peaked 4 years later. That's called hidden bearish RSI divergence. And then we went to oversold on the price action. And then the same thing happened in the everything bubble compared to the .com bubble. We saw RSI peak in 2018, and then 4 years later, the price peaked. And then now we're potentially heading to monthly oversold, and we have this hidden bearish RSI divergence. But the reason why I expected us to deviate from this .com fractal here in the blue bars was because of how much money printing, how much artificial propping up of the market we've been seeing, right? We're printing trillions and trillions of dollars, and this is just obviously a completely different market and landscape when we compare it to the .com bubble, right? We didn't have all of that money printing and the Fed buying up tons of stocks on their balance sheet, right, saving the market. If it weren't for the Fed, we probably would have been absolutely destroyed. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we did come back down to around the 230s, the low 230s on the S&P 500 on SPY ETF. But at the moment, it is a weekly bull flag that confirms. So if we just zoom in here, and then I'll get this back out for everybody to see the fib tool. So anything over the 0.32 fib there at 450 was a potential weekly bull flag, and we had a very, very brief consolidation period and then a confirmation of the weekly bull flag last week, but it's currently an inside bar and tightening up. So even if we do come down and we test, maybe the 0.236 there at 460, or we come down to the 0.32 and we test 450, it's still not a big deal, right? Still healthy. As if we lose 450, then we could be heading into the golden pocket there around 434. But as long as 450 holds, I think we're in a good situation. And then, like I said, leading into March with the Fed rate cuts could potentially send us into this weekly bull flag confirmation and follow through, where we trend back up to around 521 and new all-time highs. So if you take your measured move from the low to the high here, and then extrapolate that out to the 0.32 fib, you can see here target is about 520, 521. Dip below 450, then like I said, we're probably in for a lot more correcting down to around that 430. But monthly consolidation, like I said, I think the most likely scenario is that we don't see it this month, and it's more than likely next month where we start the monthly pullback, come back down, test, the monthly EMA 12 there around 440, 450. I think would be a nice area to target. Let's take a look at the dollar real quick as well. So the dollar's a monthly inside bar, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly time frame, heading to potential monthly oversold on the dollar, which would be great for stocks and crypto over the next few months. And we did have a weekly bear flag as well, the opposite. So weekly bull flag on Bitcoin and the S&P 500, weekly bear flag on DXY. Why? Because they're inversely correlated. So we had our high, low, lower high, perfection. Didn't get above the 0.32 fib there. Look at exactly where it topped out, right at the 0.32 fib, right? You can't make this stuff up. And then once we lost support there at 102.46, that confirmed the weekly downtrend, the weekly bear flag. And then if you take your measured move again from the high to the low, move it out to the 0.32 fib, it says we were targeting 99.78, and we had previous support at 99.57, and we could still be trending that way, heading to weekly oversold as well. Gold and silver still struggling with 25, and that $2,000 mark is now becoming support on gold, which is great to see. Silver definitely weaker in comparison in terms of precious metals. Silver is just absolutely getting destroyed at the moment comparatively, and 25 psychological is a very big brick wall, to be honest with silver. It can't get above it, can't confirm it as new support. It's resistance at the moment, but once we do get above it and we confirm it as support, backtest it, then I think it's off to the races. You could see a $30 to $40 price of silver. And then gold, this is kind of what we want to see silver do in the future with the $25 level, is we want to get above 2,000. You want to get up to new all-time highs, right? We want to see a backtest of that prior resistance, right? You can see here resistance, 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 and then we got above it, 2,148, and we're coming back down, testing old resistance as new support, right? And that's a crucial level, 2,000 psychological. So the fact that we're holding that and maintaining above it consistently here is a great sign. But EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on gold as well, potentially heading to daily oversold. So I think we're going to see daily oversold conditions on pretty much all risk-on assets. So that'd be a nice area to target for a potential temporary bottom, and then, like I said, a nice end to a nice entry here into the spring, where I think we're going to see, like I said, more euphoria and that final blow off the top moment in equity markets. And I still think we're due for alt season on crypto. So I think that'll happen. And then once crypto and big tech stocks top out, that's when we're going to see other sectors really start to flourish, like MJ. I've got my eye on MJ for when we enter a bear market on tech and the S&P 500 and crypto. Tesla weakness continues. So Tesla was a daily bear flag. We had our high, low, lower high, very, very weak bounce here. And the shorts just absolutely had a field day with this one. But very, very weak bounce. We didn't even get above the 0.236, and anything under 247 was a potential daily bear flag. So we had a very weak bounce. So as soon as we lost the low there at 234.90, that confirmed the daily downtrend, and it also confirmed the daily bear flag, and it had a target of 220. Again, you can't make this stuff up. And since then, we've actually exceeded that target, and we're now daily oversold. So this could be a nice swing trade here. If we break the high of the day today, tomorrow, 215.67, that's broken into tomorrow, then this could be a nice trade opportunity, about 7 to 10% here, just as a back test opportunity of those daily exponential moving averages, and the most likely result is just a daily lower high. So it could be a nice swing trade here on Tesla, and then you could set your stop below the low there at 210. Maybe set a stop at around 209, and then look to swing it to around 230, 236. But yeah, Tesla definitely weaker compared to a lot of the other tech names like the chips and AI plays. I mean, Tesla got some sort of, some AI component to it. But yeah, It's definitely weaker in comparison. We actually confirmed a monthly downtrend here with a high, low, lower high, and lower low, and now just another monthly lower high compared to 278.98, the most likely scenario as we look for potential monthly lower low to come here as well. In terms of individual names on the day today, we have Code, HP, and Rum leading the decline, and on the bull list we have MVMD, OPK, and NEXE. Canadian MJ, movers and shakers. So CGC shenanigans continue. They actually called off their $30 million private placement, and they say they continue to have sufficient liquidity, including through cash on hand, debt facilities, and other expected sources of financing. So they called that off, the private placement, at $4.29, and then we have earnings coming up soon as well. So it's going to be interesting to see their cash position. But in terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have XLY, PCLO, and OGI leading the decline. And on the bull list, we have WIB, DB, and IMCC. I mentioned that OGI, probably about a week ago, I said OGI was a nice laggard play and named a target for a big move incoming. And sure enough, just over the last, like a couple of weeks, let's say the last 3 weeks, up over 52%. And if you take a look at a name like CGC, CGC's actually been consolidating, dropping to weekly lower lows. And then even a name like Tilray has been consolidating on the weekly time frame after less than expected earnings, and then I think overshadowed with the CGC private placement, but now that's a thing of the past. And then we're also weak on the broader market there. But look at OGI over the last few weeks; it's actually been a laggard, and it's going against the grain. Again, the whole sector doesn't move down to the second, the day, the minute, but on a monthly and a yearly basis, generally it looks the same. But that doesn't mean that OGI can't bounce for 2 weeks and see upside for 2 weeks, while other names see downside, right? And the reason why I was so confident in saying that is because we didn't even start the monthly bounce. Really, we didn't have any room for a higher low to form and change the monthly trend. And then we had 2 monthly inside bars tightening up. I said if we broke 145 this month, then we start the monthly bounce, and that could be a nice swing, even if you just went long there on a break of 145, which I've added OGI a few times to my TFSA and to my MJ portfolio over the last few weeks. 31% of upside just on the break of last month's high. And then if we take a look at a name like Tilray, again, we can take a look at the most likely scenario. Tilray had its low, its high, it's already forming the higher low and bouncing on the monthly. Now we just need a higher high. So we've already got 2/3 of this done. We have our low, high of the bounce, we have our higher low, and then we need the higher high. So if we break 340 from here, monthly uptrend confirmed. So here we have the higher low, right? But OGI didn't have that. OGI is still just starting the bounce and continuing the bounce. We don't have our higher low yet with losing the low of the previous monthly candle, right? So I figured that would be a nice laggard play as bulls look to confirm or to allow for enough room to form that monthly higher low. And now we're talking, right? So next month, potentially we see a monthly inside bar and then consolidation and then give us that trend change. But who knows? Maybe we just continue to bust up from here. Bulls would like to see as high of a bounce as possible to allow for that higher low to form. Let's take a look at the HMMJ ETF. So same thing, low, high, higher low, looking for the higher high. So that was a nice entry there as well at 807, looking for the double bottom there off 804 for a monthly higher low, and then a long-term momentum trend change and momentum shift back to the bulls, right? So in terms of USMJ, so MSOS, seeing lots of upside over the last couple of weeks. But in terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have FIT, CXXI, CBSTF, and the Cannabis Co. actually just appointed a new CEO, RWB, LWL, and IAN leading the bull list today. But if we take a look at MSOS ETF on the monthly time frame, very close to confirming a monthly uptrend here. So we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low. We know it's a higher low because we lost the low of the previous candle, but it's higher than the previous value low. And then we started the monthly bounce, and now we're getting very close to monthly resistance. Key resistance there at 988. We got as high as 905. So if we break 988 from here, we confirm a monthly uptrend, and that'll be the first time in MSOS ETF history. And then we could be targeting EMA 26, would bring us up to around $13, and a lack of price action resistance as well until 1460. And then ultimately could see the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. But I've been saying for a while now, in order to be confident that the bear market is over and we're entering a new bull market, we need to see EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses on the weekly time frame, which we've got. We need to see monthly uptrends confirmed, which we're very close to doing. So if we break 988, then a monthly uptrend confirmed. And we want to see golden crosses with the 50-day below the 200-day moving average crossing. And that's what we already got, right? So it's looking like realistically we could get an approval from the DEA. I think the most likely scenario is they're going to approve the Schedule 3 recommendation from HHS and the FDA. And then there'll be a 60-day comment period. It'll probably wrap up sometime before the election, I would think. And then they're going to use, MJ they're going to continue to use MJ in their political campaigns and to sway young voters to get young voters to come out and get more voters out. And then I think at some point in 2025, it actually gets enacted and we see Schedule 3, Florida potentially on the ballot for 2024. I think that's like an 80 to 90% chance that it happens. And then a 60, 70%, maybe 70, 80% chance that it actually goes live in 2025 as well. And then Germany coming online anytime. Like I said, we have all the catalysts that we could ever need or want in this space. It's just a matter of months. And like I said, the charts are looking like it really could be any time now. Like it could be any month now where we get the DEA response, right? And as the saying goes, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. And again, we're very close to seeing a monthly uptrend. And like I said, it realistically could happen anytime. And this would be the first time in history that we confirm a monthly uptrend and a potential EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Actually, it's only the first time ever that we had a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. We had a bear cross here once they were defined and we had enough trading history. But this is the first time ever we've ever had a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. So we're seeing a notable momentum shift here to the bulls. And like I said, on the weekly daily uptrend, nice strong daily uptrend here, low, high, higher, low, and higher, high, higher, low, and higher, high. If you're looking for an entry on MSOS, you could wait for a daily higher low, which maybe 770, 730 would be a nice entry there around the EMAs. Or if you're a little bit more patient, you could wait for a weekly higher low and see if we backtest EMA 12 or even that $7 mark. But I've been saying for a while now that MSOS ETF is a hard buy, anything around $5 and below. So we had $5 here, ran up to 637, right? So that was a trade opportunity of about 27%. Then we came back down 478. If you didn't get it at this time at $5, you had another opportunity here at 478, and then we saw 110%-ish of upside. If you missed it that time, we went down to 492. If you didn't get it the first two times, you had another third chance to add it around $5, and now it would be up almost 83%, right? So you want to be buying usually, and again, this isn't financial advice, this is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Never ever buy anything or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. But this is an example where you want to be buying fear. You want to be buying monthly consolidation as we look for a trend change and momentum shift. You don't want to be buying when headlines drop, because then you're just going to get all emotional and then potentially fake you out, like right here in the HHS recommendation. Imagine all the people that bought on the way up thinking we were going to the moon, the bottom's in, and then we gave the whole move back, right? This is what markets do. They fake you out, they shake you out. You see that final breakout before the shakeout before the big breakout, right? So, like I said, daily uptrend, weekly uptrend. Now we just need the monthly uptrend for the first time in history. But realistically, looking at the chart here, it could be any month that we see this DEA, response and approval. I think of Schedule 3, they're going to recommend it. So again, if you don't have enough MJ, if you feel like your bags aren't packed enough, if you feel like I still need to buy more of X company, then, or maybe I need to diversify into US MSOs. Maybe I'm heavy on LPs. I need to get some MSOs. Maybe I'm heavy on MSOs and I need to get some LPs, or some retailers, some ETFs, right? I think your days are numbered. Like you might get one more buying opportunity where we see weekly consolidation and another pullback, but realistically, in the grand scheme of things, your days are numbered for sure before we see massive price appreciation, in my opinion. Did I do the gainer? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I did the movers and shakers, gainers and losers today. All right, that's pretty much all I have to say at the moment. We'll jump into the chat here. I see we have over 30 people on the stream, so welcome to the stream. Thanks so much for joining. If anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know. Or if anybody does have any questions or anything like that for me, about anything, just shoot away and I'll get to those as well. Why is MJ up the last few days? That would be because of all of the rescheduling hype and optimism. And then we also had your second question, GTBIF had great weekly gains. So absolutely the news pertaining to GTBIF was that they recently gained entry into the New York recreational market. So they've, been given the green light to commence recreational sales there. So that's going to be massive for the stock, right? GTBIF though, I do hold it in my portfolio and I own it as well through MSOS. But in terms of the individual holding, GTBIF or I own GTII on the CSE. But in terms of GTI, Green Thumb Industries, it's definitely one of the more safer plays. But in terms of my direct holding, it's probably less than 5% of my MJ portfolio, but I own a lot of MSOS ETF, which I think it's like 30% is balanced into GTII. So I have it indirectly through that. And that's kind of the amount of, exposure that I'm comfortable with at this point, because it's more of a safer bet, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, and we confirmed a monthly uptrend. So we have our low, high, higher low, and higher high. We just confirmed a monthly uptrend on GTII, but Curaleaf was our clue, right? So if we go to CURLF, since that is now on the Toronto Stock Exchange and it's not bringing up enough history, if we go to CURLF, we had our low, high, higher low, and higher high. Actually, Curaleaf was one of the first ones to do it and get above its monthly EMA 26 there. So when one name, this is why you can't just have tunnel vision on one MJ stock. You got to look at the Canadian LPs, the US MSOs, the retailers, the ETFs, also factor in the broader market, right? But if you were just holding GTBIF or GTII and you didn't know what Curaleaf was doing, you would have lost, you would have missed out on a bunch of crucial information that could have potentially helped you in entries or what to expect in terms of GTII or GTBIF. So for example, Curaleaf confirmed a monthly uptrend. Okay, we have our higher low and higher high, but that's just an outlier. Nobody else really did it, right? Curaleaf was definitely one of the leaders in terms of technicals. But then you're like going down the list and you're saying, okay, well, what's another name that confirmed a monthly uptrend? AYR, low, high, higher low, and higher high, right? So what are the odds and probabilities that we're going to see GTII and GTBIF do a similar move, right? And Curaleaf got above its EMA 26 there on the monthly time frame, and that increases the odds that we're going to see other names do that as well, right? So we have our low here, our high, higher low, and higher high. So we're in a monthly uptrend. Now we have GTI joining the pack as one of the most, the strongest technically speaking. And then we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, which would be only the second time in history. And we have a lack of resistance on the monthly until 22.18. But again, I like GTII, I like GTBIF, like the stock, the company. It's just, it's going to be one of those safer bets. It's probably not going to get you generational wealth. I mean, if you entered now and we go back to all-time highs, we're talking a 185% upside, right? So you're only going to make, if you put $1,000 into it, a couple grand, right? Whereas some names could 10x, 20x, 50x, maybe even 100x from current levels, right? So I'm comfortable with the amount I have of GTB IF, or I hold GTII, but like I said, if you're looking for a more safer bet with less risk, I think GTII is a great one. IIPR is another one where you're probably not going to see generational wealth from this thing unless you got in back here when it was at like $14 and then you sold at $246. But that's only 17x from there, right? That's $1,000 into $17,000, right? So it's it's one of those safer bets and less risk. So if you're looking for a safe play and a lot less risk, IIPR and Green Thumb, I think, are great options for you. Or an ETF, right, like MSOS, which, you do pay a small fee, but, you get that diversification and you don't have to really worry about it. It's actively managed. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, them entering, and I've done a video on that as well. If you go to my YouTube channel, go to videos. New York approves 2 more MSOs, so multi-state operators, and in there is Green Thumb. So if you want to see that video for the details on that, you can check that out. But then obviously rescheduling, 12 attorney state generals are basically urging the Biden administration and the DEA to get it rescheduled. We know HHS recommended. We had the unsealed letter, the unredacted version from HHS. So this video right here. So that would be why it's skyrocketing and confirming monthly uptrends. Time to wife her up. Yeah. Matt, you must be talking about my foot massager she got me, hey? Yeah, it's awesome. I wish I could show it to you. I guess I can't. Show it to you real quick here. I'll just unplug it. It shut off there. If you notice, it stopped. Yeah, it's freaking sweet. I love it. It's got a heat component. You can turn it on high, low, and then 3 different massage modes. Pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely wifey material. Tilray. Yeah, we can take a look at Tilray. Just take a look at Tilray. So I mentioned, what video did I mention on? This one, maybe I did a live stream, did I? I think it was on one of my live streams here on, oh yeah, and fun fact, Alan Brockstein, he's been sued for fraud. So I called him out in this FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and nonsense. And yeah, he's actually been sued for fraud. And then I mentioned in that video, a lot of some people were asking when we could see what kind of price appreciation we could see for Tilray this week, and I said we would probably trend back up to around 225, and then in a hurry, I thought it would be very, very soon that we see 225, and then today we hit 212, so we got very close to my 225 target this week. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up Alan Brockstein. And I know he was in a car accident. I don't wish anything bad on him. I'm glad he's feeling better, and I'm glad he, you know, it wasn't worse than what it is. But look at this. Alan Brockstein, CFA, sued for alleged unfair business practice, conspiracy to commit securities fraud, aiding crime subject to RICO Act, aiding plot to defraud the United States, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and injunctive relief to update disclosures affecting CFA neutrality. So my BS meter and gut feeling that I had in my stomach seems to be correct. Just talks crap about, you know, shills what he you know, believes in, what he holds, and just talks nonsense and FUD. So I would question everything out of his mouth at this point. And then there was another one from Cannabis Legalization News, that channel. One of the guests on there called Tilray Absolute Trash, so I did a video on that one. But yeah, I think it was in one of those videos. It might have been this video here, the more FUD and nonsense video with Alan Brockstein, where I mentioned that Tilray was probably going to trend up to around that 225 this week. But let's take a look at the chart here. So in terms of the daily time frame, so the daily bounce was underway yesterday. And once we broke the high here, that was a nice entry there too, right? So I said entering on a daily bounce with a lack of resistance all the way up to that 254 top there that we had after earnings. We were up about 9% and then cratered, but it was essentially a double top there at 252. We had 254 and then a big sell-off. And then you could have entered here, and a nice entry there would have been hourly oversold. So right here, hourly oversold. There was even a double bottom there at 185. 184, you could have set your stop at 179, looking for the hourly oversold bounce, looking at that bottom fish play off the hourly double bottom. Set your stop at 179, bam, you win. You're up 15% in a hurry. And then we also started the daily bounce once we broke 197 here. So even if you just entered there on that daily break with a lack of resistance all the way to 254, you'd be up, like I said, around 7%. But yeah, hourly oversold conditions there was a great entry. That's the first time we were hourly oversold since back in November, the second week of November. And let that be a lesson, right? When you see a massive move to the downside with barely any resistance and just a straight flush, usually it results in an aggressive move back to the upside, right? And we know Tilray's not going to go away. You know, in that video, they're talking about, oh, you know, they're getting into fruits and vegetables, like they're getting away from MJ, like they're becoming a fruit and vegetable company now. Like, whoa, not exciting, right? And what they didn't mention was that they acquired a facility through the Hexo acquisition, Masson in Quebec, and they don't need all that extra production capacity, right? But then they don't want to sell and he even mentioned this, Erwin Simon, on the call. They don't want to sell it for, you know, pennies and on the dollar, right? So they don't want to lose out on that because it's not a very smart business decision. So they're saying, well, you know, Germany's coming online soon. That's going to help our production capacity. That's going to help, you know, our demand, fuel demand. We also have Ontario up in their stores from 75 to 150. So that's going to be way more. And then, you know, combating the illicit market. I think it was like a study showed that around 69% of Canadians shop through legal means now. So that's just going to continue to go up. Right, and as prices go down, and as you know, we get more regulations and excise taxes, we're going to see, you know, more and more reason to leave the illicit market and go to the legal market, right? So all of this stuff is just a stopgap. The fruit and vegetables, the the beverage brands, the alcohol component of their business is just, it's very synergetic, right, with potential beverages in MJ infused, but as we know, it's a stopgap, right? And it's a great use of that facility. And we know that, inflation is running rampant right now, and, supply chain and all that stuff. So, fruit and vegetables might not be a bad idea. And they already have what's the alternative, right? They just leave it empty or sell it for pennies on the dollar. It doesn't make any sense, right? And that's just eating into their margins. But yeah, Tilray, daily bounce, daily lower high here, just the most likely scenario on this daily bounce. And then on the weekly time frame, we're still in a weekly uptrend here with a low, high, higher low, and higher high. That was a nice entry there at 184, even with a stop below 175, because if we lost 175, then we lose the weekly uptrend. And we could be gearing up for an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the weekly time frame. So I'll go on the record and say I think we're mere months away. I think we're at maybe 2-3 months at the most away from the DEA approving Schedule 3, in my opinion. But realistically, it could come any week. So that's why I say have a plan now. And it's all about 340 there on the monthly time frame. Break that, monthly uptrend confirmed. And look, EMA 12 here on the monthly, just brick wall resistance. We got to it here, rejection, failed to close above it. We topped again here, topped again here, topped again here. So if we see a monthly candle close over EMA 12 there at 252 USD on the NASDAQ, we're probably going to pull a GTBIF, we're probably going to pull a Cureleaf, and we're probably going to be trending back up to our EMA 26, which is at 549, and then price action resistance at 512. So again, how many names are doing this, right? Let's compare. Cureleaf on the monthly time frame. And again, keep doing that. CURLF. And I'm going to add this to my watch list now. So got above its EMA 26 here on the monthly. Okay. Now, how many other names are doing it? MSOS, the ETF, it's trending there. Okay. Let's take a look at GTII. Look way above its EMA 26. So the more names that do that, the more names that haven't done it, we can expect more than likely will. As long as they're not going to file for CCAA or some kind of bankruptcy, right? Creditor protection. So yeah, if we got above EMA 26, that'd put us up around $6 USD. And who here would have a problem with that? Not me. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, it's looking like it could be any week now, my friends, where we see the DEA approve it. We could see, we're seeing a stochastic bear cross and a potential bear cross of the MACD, but we're still above that 10-week moving average. Let's see if bulls can fend that off. In terms of the weekly moving averages, 50 continues to be a brick wall, and then we've got the 100 there at 314, and then after that, some runway to 741. So again, GTBIF, look, it's almost at its 200 weekly, around $16, right? What about Cureleaf? Where's it at in relative to its 200 weekly? Look, it got pretty close, only a couple bucks away. All right, AYR. It got above its 100. So again, what could we expect if Tilray does what the rest of the names are doing? We can expect 314 anywhere from there to $7, right? And I think that's very realistic over the next couple of months. I'll spend a little bit more time on Tilray as well, because I know there's definitely going to be multiple people asking for some update on it. So gearing up for another golden cross. Again, we had the golden cross, but then we didn't confirm monthly uptrends. We didn't confirm weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses around the sector. And usually you get that final shakeout before the big breakout, that disbelief phase of the investor psychology cycle where, it's just another sucker's rally. And then you get your monthly higher low, and then you get the real move in the monthly uptrend confirming and the big breakout that we knew was coming, right? It's just they don't make it easy, and they have that brutal fake out where, we go up hundreds of % off HHS recommendation. And then, as I said during that video where the HHS recommended, I said, watch, there's going to be a bunch of opposition. There's going to be a bunch of Congress people who say, we're not going to let this happen. And then they're going to use it as a way to crash the market again. And that's exactly what happened. They give the whole move back. We saw that brutal fake out. That's usually when people capitulate and they jump ship. And they say, yeah, this plant's never going to, every single MJ plant on the Earth is going to cease to exist. This sector is going to zero. And then that's when you get the monthly higher lows and long-term monthly uptrends and momentum shifts, right? So hopefully that helps. But in terms of daily support, the support will be the low of the day today at 201, $2 psychological, call it USD. If we lose $2, then we have next support at 184, 175. In terms of resistance, that'll be the high of the day today at 212, and then a lack until 254. But key monthly resistance is what we're concerned about at 340. Break 340, monthly uptrend Confirmed, first time since November 2020. Over 3 years. Exciting start to 2024. May I request a Trulieve chart analysis? Yes, you may. No problem at all. Let's take a look at Trulieve. Okay, so knowing what we know, we have GTBIF, or Green Thumb, monthly uptrend. We have Trulieve monthly uptrend, AYR monthly uptrend, MSOS very close to seeing a monthly uptrend. Then we can go over to HMMJ ETF, laggard, right? So Canadian MJ is laggard because rescheduling is going to be better for the MSOs, right? It's not really going to affect Canadian names that much, other than the fact that, you know, when people around the world see that headline that the DEA approves Schedule 3, I know people in Europe, I know people, like, for example, tons of people in Germany, I know people in Copenhagen and Denmark, and, you know, where do they go when the headline comes out, DEA approves Schedule 3, where do they go to buy things? They go to the U.S. major exchanges. They can only buy names that are on the NASDAQ, right? They can't buy OTC and they can't buy CSE or TSX, right? So what do they go and they pour their hard-earned money into? The Tilrays of the world, the CGCs, the Canopies, the High Tides, the SNDLs, right? So it's going to benefit them. And then eventually this is going to pave the way for broader, even more reform in the U.S., where we could see, you know, the U.S. being able to ship to Canada and Canada being able to ship to the U.S. and then interstate commerce and, you know, medical. You know, Tilray floated the idea of acquiring a medical company in the U.S. So, so knowing what we know, right? HHMJ is looking at confirming a monthly uptrend. It looks very, very similar to Tilray, actually, and that makes sense because Tilray is the leader. But still hasn't yet confirmed a monthly uptrend. But then MSOS, very, very close to seeing a monthly uptrend confirm. Right? We're talking less than $1 away, and this would be the first time in history. So with all of these names starting to confirm monthly uptrends, what does that tell us about Trulieve? And Trulieve looks almost identical to MSOS ETF, but it's a laggard, right? It's a little bit weaker than your Green Thumbs or your Curaleafs or your Air Wellness because we still haven't confirmed a monthly uptrend when the others have done so, right? And we could be gearing up for the first ever EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the monthly time frame for Trulieve as well. And then obviously with Florida potentially recreational MJ on the ballot for 2024, Trulieve's going to have a monopoly on that market pretty much. But we know Curaleaf's in there. We know AYR as well. A lot of names focusing on that in anticipation of that inevitably coming to fruition, right? But like I said, we can expect a monthly uptrend more than likely for Trulieve, as other leaders in the space are already doing so. But it's just a little bit of a laggard and a little bit weaker comparatively because it still hasn't confirmed the monthly uptrend. So we have our low at 466, high of the bounce at 1059, higher low here at 522 compared to 466. Now we're starting the monthly bounce for the second month in a row. It's all about 1059. Break 1059, monthly uptrend confirmed, and then we have a lack of price action resistance until 2160, and EMA 26 there at 1319. Again, if Green Thumb got above its EMA 26, if so did Curaleaf, got above it, and then we see Trulieve do something similar, that would put us up at 1319, and that's on the CSE, so Canadian dollars. If you want the US numbers on the OTC, the level to break is 780. Then we confirm a monthly uptrend, and then we'd be targeting about 1010 there, monthly EMA 26, and then a lack of price action until 1611. But another nice entry here on that monthly higher low. Support was at 342. We hit 379. You could have set your stop below 342, you know, 330, 320. And from that entry, while we look at that monthly higher low, you'd be up 80%, right? So that's why you, like, I would never, ever, ever, ever buy a stock or a crypto without looking at the chart first. Like, you'd be going in blind. Like, why wouldn't you want to look at a chart first? And then, well, obviously have an idea of what charting is and how to understand it. That helps too. But, you know, looking at it, is it at an all-time high? You know, are we oversold on the RSI? Are we overbought, right? For overbought, you probably don't want to be buying. For oversold, probably a good time to load up, right? Even just using RSI relative strength index alone could save you a ton of headache, right? How are we looking here in terms of the weekly? And we're seeing a bull cross, the MACD and the stochastic, and well above the 10. Like I said, I'm thinking it's weeks away. I think like a couple months, 2 to 3 months max. But I think it's like mere weeks away where we're going to get the DEA update. And then keep in mind, March, we have rate cuts, and the Fed's cutting for the first time, turning dovish, and then We also have the Bitcoin halving in April and a ton of IPOs in the crypto market as well. And then, like I said, I think we're going to see that final blow off top moment. And that could be a nice time to release the DEA news of approving their decision of Schedule 3 to reschedule it to Schedule 3. I don't think descheduling is going to happen because there's too many like international treaties and whatnot, but I think that rescheduling to Schedule 3 is most likely. And then we could get Germany coming online anytime, and then Florida on the ballot for 2024. We get all of those in the next few months with rate cuts and all the bullish hype from the broader market and tailwinds instead of headwinds from that. Oh man, there's no telling where these stocks are going to top out at. And I'm not just trying to feed you full of hopium and permabull. I'm just giving you my honest opinion, right? And we've been in a bear market for the last 3 years, down 80-90% plus on most names. So it's not it's not completely insane to think that we're probably going to see a massive move sometime soon, right? Like Tilray down 98% from February 2021 highs, right? It can only go down for so long. So yeah, it's looking really good. We had a golden cross there as well. We have our weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. Now we just need the monthly uptrend, and then it's all systems go. So again, if we break 780 USD, we're off to the races. Just gonna have a sip of water here. Brad says, exciting start to 2024. I already did that one. Yeah, great start so far. Lots of optimism and changing of tunes and narratives. MJ Stock Analysis YouTube channel kind of bashing Tilray this morning on his Tilray video. Yeah, so he's a value investor. I think his name's D.H. Taylor or something like that. So yeah, he's a value investor, right? So what do we know about value investing? It's looking at numbers and trying to predict the future and future growth of a company. And then overall, the strength of the company with their current balance sheet and everything like that, and price to earnings. Like, there's not really any difference between looking at a chart and taking a price action target and looking at the technicals, the bullish patterns, the bearish patterns, and then having a target that way. It's kind of similar to fundamentals where you take a look at like price to earnings, right? There's different metrics to take a look at, where we can expect the price to go based on, price to earnings or other valuation metrics, right? So it's not that there's any right or wrong way, but I will remind you that because of Warren Buffett being a value investor, he missed out on Bitcoin. He missed out on crypto. He didn't understand the intrinsic value of it. He didn't understand how it made any sense. He didn't understand the internet. He missed out on Amazon, Apple, all of these companies. Because why? Because like Tesla, for example, he missed out on Tesla. Analysts would have told you that Tesla is not profitable. They'll never be profitable. They make less cars in a year than Toyota makes in a month. Now Tesla's worth more than all the big automakers combined. So what do we know about value investing? It doesn't factor in future growth, right? You're only looking at what you have now. The Canadian names are battle tested. They've been operating under a blueprint and framework in the legal arena for over 5 years now. Now they have the foothold and they're going to be, one of the biggest beneficiaries from the German market. And then once the US opens up, like who cares about the US entering Canada, like the MSOs entering Canada? There's barely no growth there, right? I would argue that you'd rather be into the LPs when the news comes out that it's federally legal now in the US, because then all the LPs, not just Canada, that they're owning, and there's store counts going from 75 to 150 in Ontario, Canada's biggest province. We got Germany coming online. We got the US, other nation states, right? And in countries and geographies. So, this is going to be huge. And the growth aspect is like the potential there for some of these LPs to enter the US market, and then Germany and the rest of the world. That's, you can't factor that in by looking at current numbers, right? So the saying goes, numbers don't lie. Yes, I understand. But if you take a look at the future growth for these MSOs, a lot of them they're lagging, and the LPs have a big head start with EU GMP certification. Curaleaf's a name in the US that I'm very bullish on. They have EU GMP certification and operations in Germany. They're going to be a huge proponent there and beneficiary, but they're also the biggest in the US, and I think they're going to be one of the biggest. I think they're easily top 5, maybe even top 3. It could have the shot at being the biggest. I think Tilray's going to be the biggest, but yeah, it's It's the value investing principle. Not to knock it, right? It works, right? But you can't. It doesn't factor in future growth. And what people don't realize with Tilray is just buying time until the U.S. legalizes, until Germany comes online, until Canada gets its act together, till we review excise taxes. I think a third of Organigram's revenue went to excise taxes, right? So once they improve that, Tilray can't even market here in Canada. They can't advertise, right? So imagine when an MJ ad. Imagine when people are at the Super Bowl and they're able to buy Tilray beverages, MJ infused beverages, and then while they're consuming their favorite MJ beverage of choice, oh, look at the Jumbotron, Tilray commercial. What's going to happen? Value investing goes out of the freaking window at that point, right? You can't factor that in. You can't predict that, right? Using value investing. Value investing is going to be very important in MJ once the hype starts to fade and we see reform. So once we see federal legalization in the US and across the world and things start to, top out and we hit critical mass and that S curve just goes parabolic, right? Then value investing is going to matter, because then you're going to try to siphon out all of the companies that, it's like the .com days. There were hundreds of companies. Right now in crypto, there's thousands and thousands of cryptos. Obviously, that's not going to be the case long term. So same thing with MJ. There's thousands of LPs. There's thousands of MSOs, right? There's more and more coming online all the time. If we get rescheduling, that's going to remove the 280E tax burden, which was going to make it way easier to get into the space. And people won't be as reluctant because they're not going to be hindered as much and they're going to make way more bottom line and way more profit, right? So eventually, once we hit critical mass and the world starts to accept this medicine of the future, then value investing, I think, is going to be important to filter out all of the junk, right? But as of right now, like, you can just basically throw a dart, and as long as the company doesn't go under before rescheduling, you're going to benefit tremendously, like regardless if they're profitable or not, right? So hopefully that helps. But I watch his videos from time to time. Like, he's very knowledgeable, right? So it's just the different strokes for different folks, right? Hopefully that helps. Would it be possible for Tilray to join MSOS? No, not given the current landscape, because MSOS is a pure MJ play. So they want to only focus on pure MJ in the US. So unless Tilray acquired MedMen, right, we know they have their convertible debt, which could potentially be the case once federally permissible. It's not going to happen. Or unless if they acquired a medical company in the US, maybe, when they reschedule to Schedule 3, and then it would be able to be prescribed through pharmacies and things like that. We'll see what happens. But as of right now, no. They would have to have some sort of operation in the U.S., which they have tons of opportunity, right? If they see, if they're able to add MJ into their beverages, even just CBD, right? If they're able to add MJ infused beverages into their already, like, think of Sweetwater Brewing Co. 420 Pale Ale, right? They could have a non-alc version with MJ infused, like, giddy up, right? And then maybe they get added to MSOS ETF, but the person who manages that, I think his name's Dan or something like that, he doesn't like Tilray, probably because he's talking his book, and he probably owns it, though, in his personal portfolio, I bet you. But they're just focusing on pure MJ plays on MSOS. They have another, YOLO is another one. So yeah, YOLO Advisor Shares, which is the same thing. So if we go there, it's loading. Advisor shares, boom, Tilly Brands. So Tilly's there, coming in at 2.65% portfolio weightage. VFF 6% there. High Tide, Kronos. So yeah, YOLO's another name that you can look at in terms of ETFs. And if we just take a look at the monthly time frame here, yeah, it's a lot weaker. We dropped to a lower low. And that's probably, like I say, because the U.S. names have been stronger. I don't know why I can't quench my thirst today. Literally just switched from that vid to this stream. Oh yeah, you must be talking about the Tilray analysis on MJ stock analysis. Okay, yep. Rod, my man, good day, good day. Thanks for joining, Jamlosi. And I picked up another 1K Tilray shares this morning. Yeah. Just watched the negative Tilray video, so I bought another 1K shares. OGI, yeah, we can take a look at OGI. I already kind of went over that a little bit earlier in the stream. But yeah, that was a great opportunity, right? I mentioned this is probably going to be a laggard because we didn't really start the monthly bounce. We had a little bit of a monthly high here and bounce underway, but we didn't have any room for a higher low to form, right? If we came down, we only had like, what was the low, 102 to 97? We have 5 pennies for a higher low. Like, that's laughable. It's not even, doesn't even make sense, right? So now that we have a big bounce all the way down from 97 cents to $1.92, we had a 2 monthly inside bars in tightening range. And what was everybody else in the space doing? Bouncing like crazy. So what was the most likely scenario that we see for OGI? Probably going to be a laggard, probably going to see tons of upside. So again, if you just entered on that multiple inside bar bull break and tightening range, once we broke the high of 145, that means we broke the high of last month. Even if you just entered there to the high currently, you would have made 32% of the swing on a swing trade, right? So I mentioned that that was more than likely a laggard, and sure enough, now we have enough room. Oh, look, I already drew it. Now we have enough room for the higher low to form. So I will delete this and draw it again so that people can understand, right? What is an uptrend? What is a downtrend? If I could teach you what, and I do teach you, I have, if you go to palgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, I have the Academy course, which is basically teaching you uptrends and downtrends and psychology of markets, tons of stuff in there. 33 modules, I think, and lessons. But yeah, I basically go over an interactive quiz where I help you understand what downtrends and uptrends are. So if I could say pick 3 things to understand in terms of charting, I would say plop the RSI indicator in there. So the RSI, relative strength index, when we're 30 and below or oversold, generally a good idea to buy. Again, not financial advice, your own research. And then if we're set 70 and above, then we're overbought, generally a good time to sell or to not buy, right? So put that in and then learn what an uptrend is and then what a downtrend is. If you know how to use RSI, if you have an RSI in your charts and you know what an uptrend and a downtrend are, then you're probably going to do better than like 95% of retail traders out there. And look, an uptrend is just higher lows and higher highs, right? Same thing here. Higher lows, higher highs. Higher lows, higher highs. Then here we had a low, a lower high, and a lower low. Lower high, lower low. Lower high, lower low. That's a downtrend, right? So we had our high, low of the dump, then we bounced. How do we know it's a bounce? Because we broke the high of the previous candle. Then on this candle here, we dipped, actually it was all in the same candle. We went to a lower high into a lower low, but then this one confirmed it. And then another lower high and lower low. And then here we had no monthly trend change. It just went from the low there at 404 all the way up to 25. So we didn't confirm the monthly uptrend. We were starting the monthly higher low here, but then it ended up in a lower high and lower low, another downtrend, lower high, lower low. And then now we're looking for the higher low and higher high. So we have our low, high the bounce, we need the higher low and the higher high. So this part right here, just the bounce, where we're starting to form the bounce, is what Tilray has already done long ago, right? This is here, right? So Tilray has already done this, and now we're doing this, but we just need the higher high confirmation and follow through. Whereas, like I said, OGI is just here, right? I got a lot of stuff on there, but yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, in terms of OGI, daily time frame, I'd be cautious on entries here. It's a daily inside bar. So more than likely setting up for another daily inside bar into tomorrow. So the low of the day today will be key support at 173. If we lose that, we're probably heading down to around 150s, which would be a back test of the daily EMAs and just healthy. But daily uptrend, low, high, higher, low, and higher high. Another brief higher, low, and higher high. So if you're looking for entries on this one, and we could see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well. So again, pretty much every name in MJ is confirming weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses. So again, the fact that we were getting close said to me that look for OGI to be a potential laggard. And did we get our golden cross? Not yet. So again, we're very close to seeing it when most names have already done it, right? Like MSOS, the ETF that tracks all the US major names, did it way back here in September. So it just increased the odds that OGI was probably going to act as laggard. And they got a $124 million investment from British American Tobacco. Like, this company is going to be massive as well. Like, I think easily top 10, maybe top 5 globally. But I think there's other names. I think like Tilray, Curaleaf, GTII. You know, those names are going to be really hard to supplant. But hopefully that helps. I'm going to start picking it up a little bit more here around an hour, and I do want to get some other videos out today as well. Hi Rod, can you take a look at MedMen? There is a halt on trading and would like your view if they will survive. Sure, Patrick. I wasn't aware that they were on a halt. Do we know why? Annual, that's December 21st, so yeah, I'm not sure. Anything here in Moomoo? They usually have pretty good. Let's go take a look here. News. January 8th. Yeah, halt. Gotta love Moomoo. Alright, so Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization trading halt, MedMen. CIRO can make a decision to impose temporary suspension or halt or trading in a security or publicly listed company. Does it say why? Usually it says like pending news or some kind of material change. Trade order, yes. Halt time 7:45 a.m. This was 9 days ago. So I think, was it related to their filings? Like they just didn't have up-to-date filings or something, so following issues have been halted. Yeah, it must be something related to their filings or something. But yeah, this is one name that, you know, you want to be very cautious. You're not going to pour your hard-earned money into this one, you know, in bunches. Like I wouldn't recommend backing up the truck because you don't have to, right? If you buy, let's say you put $1,000 into this thing, which is the most that I would put into it, to be honest, and we go up to all-time highs, that's a 790x. So $1,000 investment into $790,000. If we just go back to February 2021 highs from current price at a penny and a half, you're looking at 142x. So $1,000 into $142,000. So you don't need to put like 50 grand into this thing, and I think it'd be the most degen thing ever. But yeah, just be very, very careful. I mean, it's closer to zero than it is to anything else. So I'd just be very cautious. If Tilray ends up buying them, then, you know, maybe we see a big spike and then they get absorbed into Tilray stock. That's a possibility as well. We know they have their convertible debt. But yeah, I'd just be very cautious. This would be like a YOLO play, right? Like just a lottery ticket almost. And be very, very cautious on this one. I wouldn't put a whole lot into this one. But we're right on 1.5 cent support. And then next resistance on the monthly is 5 cents. And then if we trend back up to EMA 26, like most MJ names, then we'd be at around 17 cents. And then after that, we have a lack of resistance till 55 cents on the monthly and price action, and then $1.83. So yeah, this is one of those names where, you know, I have it in my portfolio. It's very, very small, less than 5% of my MJ holdings and my MJ portfolio. And I wouldn't put any more than, you know, $1,000, $2,000 into this max, and just let it sit. But yeah, in terms of will they survive, it's anybody's guess, right? Like there's a very good chance that they go under. So just keep that in mind. Tilray could acquire them, in which case, like I said, depending on how the deal's structured, they might, you know, do it through a stock deal, and then it gets absorbed into Tilray, right? Or something like that, right? Where you get like a ratio. X amount of Tilray shares for every MedMen shares, right? Similar to happen with Hexo, similar to happen with Afria. Hi, Rod. You are awesome. Thank you, Tech Mike. I appreciate it. Not as awesome as you. Do you know what is going on with MJ ETF? Some kind of vote this week. Is Amplify buying it? Thank you. I'm not familiar. I'm not sure what's happening there, to be completely honest with you. If I don't know something, I won't try to pretend like I do. Yeah, I'm not sure. Take a look here, though, at the technicals. Yeah, it's definitely weaker, right? Because we dropped to a monthly lower low, and just a monthly lower high is the most likely scenario here. Whereas HMMJ has a low, high, basically double bottom and higher low, and now we're starting the monthly bounce. So it's definitely weaker than HMMJ. And you got like POTX as well, which is very weak. Another Global X MJ ETF. So lower high, lower low, lower high. So nowhere near confirming a monthly uptrend. But yeah, I'm not sure on that with regards to your question on Amplify buying it. Isn't MedMen down like 99% today? Yeah. So it's been choppy, and like if we expand this here, it's basically just been going sideways, right? So yeah, we're dropping. We're right at that 1.5 all-time low, 1.5 pennies. So penny stock, low, high, double bottom now, and you can see here it's been a floor since. It's been 1.5 cents has been a floor for 397 days or 13 months, right? Over a year. So, like I said, I would just be very cautious on this one. But I mean, if we're gonna take a look at the performance and chastise the performance, I mean, look at Tilray from February 2021 highs. It's down like almost 98%, and they're like, yeah, see, Canadian LPs suck. It's all about MSOs. It's like, okay, well, you do know that the ETF that tracks all the major U.S. names was down 92%, right? It's called the whole sector moved down together, not down to the second, the day, the minute, but overall on a monthly, yearly basis, they all look the same, right? MSOS, look at that brutal chart. Look at Tilray, looks the same, right? Look at Trulieve, looks the same. CGC, samesies, right? So MedMen just, definitely not got nearly as much going for it as some of these other names. Also, what are your thoughts on YOLO? Yeah, so I did go over that, the YOLO ETF, and I brought up the holdings there just a bit ago. But like I said, definitely weaker in comparison to some of our other names because it dropped to a lower low. And again, because it's more, it has a lot of the Canadian names in it as well, which have been, but it's coming off monthly oversold, so it's looking good. I think, pretty much any of these names, like any of these ETFs, right? Like YOLO, MJ, HMMJ, MSOS, MSOX, like they're all probably going to do really, really well. It's just long term. What are we talking about? Like in the short to medium term here, leading into the rescheduling news, pretty much all those ETFs I think are going to skyrocket. But yeah, I don't hold it personally, but I don't have any major thoughts about it. Like I think that it could be worth jumping into, but MSOS obviously having the most volume and being the most well known, I'd probably rather hold that. Rod, any idea on why SNDL didn't participate yesterday in most of the most MJ? Yeah, so SNDL is one of those laggards as well. We have our low, high, higher low. We're starting the monthly bounce. So like I said, SNDL is one of those names that's a little bit of a laggard at the moment, but we already created enough room for a higher low. We're forming the higher low now. And then what I said was OGI probably going to catch up and be a laggard. And then here we are forming the high now. We still need the higher low. So when OGI forms its higher low is where we start to see all these other names that were already leading start to see buying pressure. So I would say once OGI kind of starts to top out here, forms a higher low, and some of our other names that are trying to play catch up, like Kron's probably another one. Let's take a look at Kron. Yeah, so Kron has its higher low, starting the monthly bounce as well. So I think, it's great to see that some of these laggards here, like OGI, seeing its bounce, and then when money starts to rotate out of that, I think SNDL, Tilray, those are going to be some names to be benefiting from that. But yeah, I didn't see anything major. Tentative earnings scheduled for April, first week of April, it looks like. But that's just what TradingView says, so I didn't vet that, but I want to see official confirmation from the company. But yeah, nothing major at the moment. It's just a monthly inside bar, so it's tightening up. We have support at 140, resistance at 171, and then the low this month at 145. So this could be a solid entry right now, playing off this higher low here. So if you entered right now at 145, even if you set your stop below 125, you'd risk about 13%. And if we go back up to monthly resistance from here, that's about a 61% of upside. And then if we go back to EMA 26, like most names, that's about 147%. So you can risk 13% to make like almost 150%. And with a clear stop level there at below 125, you do 119 even. And if you did 119, you'd essentially be risking about 18%. Or you could try to get it closer, like I said, to that 131 area. So it's looking good. Like I said, I think it's a good sign that we're seeing OGI kind of play catch up. And then I think SNDL and some of those other names that were running first should start to see that capital inflows. Hopefully that helps. I'm still long MSOS 542, not selling any, of course, but I wish I had more shares. Yeah, we're getting into that phase where, you know, things are starting to run and you're getting into that phase where you're, I wish I bought more. And that's how I felt with AYR. I actually added it. I think it was last week I added it. And then it went up like 75%. And I was like, whoa, I'm up like 60% or something like that when I last checked, but it was like, oh, I wish I had more. But I also own it indirectly through MSOS, so I'm not beating myself up too bad about it. Okay, I'm going to start going through a little bit quicker. Hi, can you please check Cresco, your expectation? Yeah, so I did a video on that one as well. I did a video not too long ago saying that I added 3 MJ stocks. I added these 3 MJ stocks. I added High Tide, SNDL, and Cresco to my TFSA, tax-free savings account here in Canada. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great risk versus reward play. And actually, I added that one like right around here. And then it skyrocketed again like 46%. And that was another case where I was like, oh, damn, should have bought more. But again, I have some of it through MSOS indirectly as well. But yeah, very bullish on this company long term as well. We have our low, high, higher low. We just need the higher high. So in order to confirm the monthly uptrend, we need to break 378. And then we're targeting EMA 26, like I said, like most MJ. That'll bring us around 413. But yeah, it's looking really, really good. So it should follow suit with Green Thumb, confirm a monthly uptrend, and we're seeing a bull cross of the MACD and the stochastic as well, so we're looking really, really good there. We're above the 50 weekly, so we're targeting the 100 there, and a lot of names targeting their 200, so that'll bring us up to around $7 Canadian. And then if we take a look at the CSE here, we already had our golden cross, death cross, that final shakeout for the monthly higher low and trend change potential, and now another golden cross. So I think, like I said, it's like any week now. I think we're 2-3 months, maybe weeks away from seeing the DEA approve Schedule 3. But yeah, even if you entered CL now, and we're gearing up for a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, first time in history, if you entered CL now at 264-ish, and we go back up to all-time highs, that's 700% of upside from here, 736. Whereas a GTII, or GTBIF, just for comparison, if you entered at current price now and it goes back to all-time highs, that's 183% of upside. Right? So CL definitely offers a lot more upside in my opinion, but if it goes to all-time high, it's probably not just going to stop there, right? It's probably going to continue. So if you got it at the low there, like $1.35, then if we went back to all-time highs, that's 15x, $1,000 into $15,000 investment, right? So I think this is one of those names that offers great reward, but a little bit more risk. But yeah, key support's going to be that that low here, the higher low at 145. I want generational wealth. Undercover judger. Yeah, I hear you. It's kind of the motivation I got from Pow Group, right? Pursuit of wealth. It was looking at crypto, looking at MJ, and looking at the potential here, and it truly is generational wealth. So that's kind of how I got the idea of the name for Pow Group as well. What are your thoughts on the probability of CGC stock ever reaching back to their all-time highs? Yeah, I mean, I'm a believer. I mean, I think it can happen. I just switched that by accident. And then, yeah, that's a good thought experiment too, right? Like, again, to kind of compare what I just did with CL and Green Thumb, if you entered now at CGC and then we go back to all-time high, that's 123x. So $1,000 investment into $123,000. So again, if you're looking at names like CGC, it has a lot of uncertainty, which means it has a lot of risk, right? But the reward is very high. But the risk is very high. With comes high risk, comes high reward, right? Low risk, low reward. So, if you want my honest opinion, don't put any more than 5% of your MJ portfolio into CGC, right? Like, do what you want. If you want to YOLO, go 100% all in on CGC. Could be the best thing you ever did. Might become a billionaire. Who knows? But, I just don't see the value in putting a lot of money into it. It's less than 10% of my MJ portfolio, somewhere around between 5 and 10%. You know, this thing goes back to all-time highs. I'm sitting on $250,000 almost, right, off my investment. So I don't need to put 20 grand into this thing. I don't need to put 10 grand into this thing. It's peace of mind. I think there's a very, very good chance. I'd say it's, you know, 50-50 chance. Who knows? Maybe they even get bought out or they merge with another company. That could happen. Anything could happen. Just be prepared for all scenarios, up, down, sideways, and don't put a second mortgage on your house. Don't put all your life savings into this thing. That's what I would recommend. But again, not financial advice. But yeah, I think if there was any name that could pull it off, I think CGC has a good shot at it. Hey, I am late. Am I late for high tide? No, you are not. Actually, nobody asked for high tide yet, so a little bit surprised on that, actually. And we'll take a look at the U.S. side of things, because it has the most volume. And a bunch of people are asking me that as well. How come you always look at the U.S. side? You're Canadian. It's kind of annoying. I'm like, well, the reason is because the U.S. is the most important market in the world, and it has the most volume. So that's how you chart, right? You want the most volume. You want to see what the most data is. So if you have more data on this chart, we'll take that over the one with less data, right? That's all charting is data, support, resistance, emotions of people, and data, right? So yeah, you want to always chart where the volume is. So high tide, another one of my top picks, but yeah, low, high, higher, low. Now we need the higher high, and we're very close to seeing a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, first time in history on the NASDAQ. So key resistance from here is going to be 230, break that, then monthly uptrend confirmed, and we have a lack of resistance all the way up to 589. But key support is going to be the higher low here at 114. And I did add this one, like I said, this was about a couple weeks ago, into my TFSA, tax-free savings account. Won't be selling this one anytime soon. This is easily a $20, $25 stock in the future, in my opinion. Getting a little overheated here on the weekly time frame, but yeah, we're looking really, really good. We're in a close to confirming a monthly uptrend. We're in a weekly uptrend, daily uptrend. Nice EMA 12 support there on the daily. Not yet quite hitting daily overbought, so it looks like we could see a little bit more gas in the tank. And we have weekly resistance at 230 as well. And we hit $2 psychological this week and then started to pull back. So wouldn't be surprised if we did pull back for a weekly high or low somewhere around 170, 160s. Coming off daily overbought as well, so one has to, you know, we're almost daily overbought, and we haven't confirmed the monthly uptrend yet, and we don't have any weekly support down to 146, and then we have key resistance coming here at 230. So I think the most likely scenario is that we see, you know, we top out here, come down for a weekly higher low, reset some of those RSI, cool off the RSI in the daily, and then come through 230 like butter. And if we get DEA rescheduling news, positive outlook from that, then yeah, this thing's probably going to like $3 in no time. In terms of the weekly chart here, yeah, blasting off. We had a POW algo buy alert go off in high tide as well a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, this low, high, higher low on the weekly time frame and a weekly trend change and a perfect back test of the 10-week moving average with a MACD and a stochastic bull cross was just like the most like ultimate buying opportunity, and then massive upside. We're also above the 50 weekly with a lack of resistance until 330 there at the 200 weekly moving average. So again, that $3 mark I think would be hit very, very quickly if we break 230. And we had a golden cross as well. So again, exactly what we want to see. Golden crosses, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses. Now we just need the monthly uptrend to confirm with a break of 230. And then, like I said, it's anywhere from $3 to $5 in a hurry at that point, USD. What is the top one MJ company in the US and Canada, Europe, and Africa? That's a great question. That might be a great idea for a video, actually. Top MJ in Canada, I'll go with Tilray. Top MJ company in the US, I'll go with Trulieve. Top one in Euro, maybe like IMCC, maybe. MJ. There's also like Intercure. Africa, I have no idea. No idea there. Maybe Tilray, just because it has like the most diversification across all continents and countries. Just see, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I'm just going to bring up the investor deck. But let's see if it's like right on their website here. Yeah, look at that. South Africa. So yeah, I'm going to go Tilly. Let's go Tilly on that. Rod, do you think MO is going to be a play on MJ later? Rod, do you think MO is going to be a play on MJ later? MO? I'm not sure what you mean. Is that a place, a stock? You're talking like MO? Or Altria? You're talking about Altria? But yeah, like a big alcohol, big tobacco, big pharma have the most to lose, and they're a big backer of Kronos, right? So Kron. So if that's what you're talking about, yeah, I would say yes. Yeah, if you Tech Monkey, if you want to just confirm that. When is Germany legalizing? It could be any time now, like any month, really. Ready to take a look at? Would like to take a look at BFF? Sure. So starting the monthly bounce. So this is another name that I said was a monster opportunity as well. We're looking for a monthly trend change. You could have entered here on the monthly high or low at 63 cents, set your stop below 55 cents. You'd now be up 50%, and the risk was only 12%. So great risk to reward. And the most likely scenario with all these names confirming monthly uptrends and very close to doing so was the most likely scenario is BFF probably going to do so as well. And we had 2 monthly inside bars similar to OGI and then a big move from OGI. So I think something similar is going to happen for VFF where we have 2 monthly inside bars. We're breaking bullish now. And if we go back up to, even if you just entered on that break of the monthly inside bar with a break of high of last month at 87 cents, and we go back to monthly resistance, that's 33% of upside from here. And if we go back to EMA 26, like a lot of names are doing, that's 168% of upside. So I think BFF is going to be one of those laggards and nice risk to reward and great swing opportunity and investment long term as well, potentially. I don't own it directly. I own it indirectly through some ETFs, but I'm not 100% sold on this long term. I think it'll do well in the short to medium term. Like I think everything's going to do well, but whether or not it'll stay in MJ or get acquired, maybe they'll sell off their pure sun farms and just stay an agricultural stock and company. I don't know. I really don't have that much confidence in it long term, but I don't think it's going to go to zero either. I just think the most likely scenario is that they probably sell their MJ business or merge. But yeah, key support there at 63 cents as that's our monthly high or low now that we started the monthly bounce, and key resistance is 117. Break that, monthly uptrend confirmed. Probably heading up to EMA 26 in a hurry at around $2, just over $2. All right, what are we at now? This freaking chat's going crazy still. VFF went over that one. Actually, I didn't quite go into it here on the weekly. Yeah, we're looking really good, seeing a bull cross on the MACD, stochastic. Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get DEA response here like any time now. This is looking really, really good. And then we're above the 50 weekly. We got some runway to 182, and then 496 is our 200. And again, GTBIF. Whoops. GTBIF. Getting very close to its 200. So if VFF were to do that, it'd be up around $5 USD on the NASDAQ. Boom. Golden cross as well. So it's looking really, really good. Next question. Can Tilray go bankrupt? Anybody can go bankrupt. What is the likelihood? I would say less than 1%. Very confident of that. They could sell off, what do they have, like 12 brands just in MJ alone? They just bought 8 beer and beverage brands off Anheuser-Busch, the maker of Budweiser. They've got Masson facility. They've got tons of facilities. They got tons of brands, tons of products. They got their hemp business, Manitoba Harvest. They got their Tilray Medical and CC Pharma distribution business. They got their alcohol business. Sweetwater Brewing Co. Less than 1%. Less than 1% bankruptcy. Can you give me an update on Tilray, my friend? Told me it can all go to zero. No. Don't listen to the fudsters. Don't listen to the nonsense out there. Tilray ain't going anywhere. Tilray is going to probably be the biggest company in the MJ space globally. If not, I'm like 90+% positive, close to 100% positive it's going to be in the top 10, top 5. I'm like 80% positive it's going to be in the top 3, and I'd say like 50-50 chance it's the biggest company in all MJ. So don't listen to the fudsters. They just want your cheap shares. Can you look at the stock ticker PBR? Thank you. Sure. Is that past blue ribbon? I think you didn't mention an exchange, but I assume you mean this one here. Yeah, I'd be cautious. It's monthly overbought, and since the lows of March 2020, it's now up almost 10x. And we don't have that much monthly support until 13, and then after that 766, and then like 10 psychological. So yeah, I'd be very cautious on this one. This is an example of why you always want to look at a chart first when it's at all-time highs or close to it. 26, 27 all-time highs. This month we hit 16.79. Could it go to 20 bucks? Possibly. Could it go to new all-time highs? Possibly. But what are if you're entering now, if it goes back to all-time highs, that's only 65% of upside. Whereas, if we come back down to some of the support here, that's 60% of downside. So there's a lot of risk involved as well. And the most likely scenario is that we're probably going to consolidate here in a big way. I'd probably wait for at least monthly consolidation. When we're monthly overbought, you generally don't want to be buying. You also just asked me to look at it, so I don't know if you're looking to sell, short, buy, long. I don't know what you're looking to do. Or if you already hold it or whatnot, but if you want my honest opinion, I think it's due for some massive correction. We could see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross. If you're wondering when it would be a good idea to go long on this stock, then I think getting closer to the weekly oversold would be a nice entry, and then that'd probably put us down around like 10 bucks, or maybe a flush thereof. But I have no insight on this company, fundamentally speaking, so no real insight from other than a technical perspective, right? So I'd just be very cautious on any entries. Definitely more appealing to go short. And we're seeing a bear across the stochastic, MACD, and a potential loss of the 10-week moving average there at 1567. So nice opportunity to go short if we close below 1567 on that 10-week moving average. But keep in mind, this value updates every week, right? So don't just say, oh, if we close below 1567, you need to keep updating the 10-week moving average because it changes all the time. It's a lagging indicator, right? Factors in price first. So yeah, weekly, we're well above all the weekly moving averages as well. So yeah, we have the 100 there at 1097. I'd probably, if I was looking for bullish entries, I'd probably try to get it closer to that 200 weekly there around 770. Probably set up for a death cross soon too. Yep, 50 above the 200 day. We had the golden cross back here, right? 50 below the 200 day cross. Then we saw tons of upside. Now we're due for consolidation. So just be very careful on this one if you're looking for long entries. But isn't BlackRock over 17% of MSOS now? Yeah, and BlackRock runs the world, right? And crypto, Bitcoin ETF didn't get any traction until Grayscale, beat the SEC in court, and then once BlackRock filed for the application, that was pretty much the done deal, right? They get what they want, and that was just a very easy outcome to judge, right? But yeah, basically, if you Google who runs the world, it's BlackRock. But I'm not 100% sure on the institutional ownership there on MSOS. I'd have to. It's been a while since I looked at it, but yeah, wouldn't surprise me. It makes me laugh when people say Tilray is going bankrupt. Well, it's just it comes with a lack of experience, right? When people aren't experienced, they feel emotions, and that this is what the market makers do, and the media and the talking heads do, is they try to get you to believe that something's going bankrupt, so that you sell them your cheap shares. It's just talking their book and how markets work, right? So when we see that, the FUD, when that's going around, that's generally a good idea or a good indication that the bottom is close to being in, right? When people are talking about bankruptcy, it's usually probably a good time to buy, as long as that company is fundamentally sound and, you don't think it's going to go bankrupt. Like if we were talking about MedMen and people are talking about bankruptcy, I'd be like, yeah, there's probably a good chance that's going to happen. But if it's Tilray, less than 1%, I would say. Jungle Boys. Yeah, Jungle Boys... yeah, they're going to be huge. Well, they are huge. They're big into quality products and stuff, right? Saw them down when I was in Florida. BZAM, yeah, we can take a look at Bazam, however you. I don't like the name. That's one thing I will say. Not a lot of. It's not very liquid, very illiquid. yeah, one of the weaker names. Still haven't seen the EMA 12 and 26 bull cross, but this could be a nice laggard as well, right? Similar to what OGI just did. We still nowhere near confirming a monthly uptrend. We're actually dropping to lower lows, actually 11.5 cents, 11.5. It's now a triple bottom at 11.5 cents. So you could enter this, and this is like a CGC name, right? Like I'd only enter this as a complete YOLO play. Like I wouldn't put 100% of my portfolio into this thing. I wouldn't even put any more than like 2 or 3% of my MJ portfolio into this thing, to be honest. I think the most likely scenario with BZAM is that they either get acquired or, yeah, they merger and acquisition, or yeah, we'll see. I think that's the most likely scenario. I don't think they're going to be like a long-term player, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, haven't even started the monthly bounce here for the last couple of months. We had the monthly bounce starting here, and we got as high as 21 cents. But there's no. It's pretty choppy here on the monthly time frame. But if we see EMA 12 and 26 cross bullish, then I think we're going to see massive upside. We could be back up to around that 51, because we hit 21 cents on this bounce. After that, we have a lack of resistance really to about 50 cents psychological and the price action. I like their products are pretty decent. Obviously, they merged with T-Gods with a Green Organic Dutchman. But yeah, still below the 10-week moving average. We're seeing a bull cross with the stochastic. So if we can get a candle close over 14 cents, around 15 cents, we're probably heading back up to 21 cents in a hurry, and then break 21 cents. And like I said, this DEA news, we'll probably see the tier 1, tier 2s run first, and then the lower, smaller caps run after. But yeah, we're below all the weekly moving averages as well. Daily time frame, we haven't seen a golden cross yet either, so it's definitely lagging. But it could be, like I said, could it be one of the next to run? Like I would expect like the OGIs, right, to start their monthly bounce, weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross. If we get a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on the OGIs, which is very close to happening, then I could see potentially like BZAM or BZAM seeing that happen after. So that's what I'd be looking out for. Hopefully that helps. Love your channel, says Oscar. Thank you. I appreciate the support, especially for a guy like me who hasn't learned to read charts yet. However, I will learn. Question, yeah, I mean, we all start somewhere, right? Question, what is a good buy range for MSOS and Tilray outside of the dollar cost averaging? Yeah, that's a great question, Oscar. So MSOS, like I've been on record for the last, I don't know when you found the channel or not, but I've been basically screaming from the rooftops for many months now, saying that MSOS is a buy all day long, anywhere around $5 and below. So I mentioned earlier in the stream, if you had a chance to enter here in April of 2023, we saw about 27% of upside. Another chance here where we dip below 478 before the HHS news came out, went up 105%, and then another chance here to add at 492 after they faded that whole move, and then here we are up again 80%. So at this point, if you're looking for entries, I'd probably wait for, like if you're a little bit more aggressive and like you want to own it before the DEA comes out, like maybe try to get it around 750 on a daily high or low, somewhere around 775, 750. If you're a little bit more conservative and patient, and you don't think the DEA is going to come out and approve it anytime soon, maybe you want to wait for a weekly high or low, somewhere closer around $7. It's really hard to say, right? I don't really know your situation, so I don't know how much you hold currently. Do you own $0 of it? Do you have, do you already own a ton of it and you're just looking to add more? Like all of those things would really factor in, right? And then same thing for Tilray. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know, what your net worth is. I don't know how much like disposable income you have. How much of your net worth do you have like is invested in this, right? You should never really invest any more money than you don't have that you're willing to lose. So if you're struggling to pay rent or pay a mortgage or put food on the table, then maybe you want to focus on that first and supplementing your income. Like this is just an example of how, or maybe you got like $1 million in the bank and you don't know what to do with it, right? So you can see how things would change drastically depending on people's circumstances, right, and situations. So, I mean, realistically, we're down from February 21 highs on Tilray. We're from current levels, we're still down 97%. So, like pretty much anywhere here, like can't really go wrong if you're looking long term. And again, that's another thing. Are you looking months out, 4 months out, 2 years out, 4 years out, 10 years plus. Like, you have to kind of give me a little bit more. And like I do coaching as well. So if you go to palgroup.ca or pursuitofwealthgroup.com, you can always sign up for the private community as well in a monthly or annual membership. You can get more access to me in there. And it's basically what I do all day. I basically do this all day, day in, day out in there. And I do coaching, one-on-one coaching as well. So that might be something that you'd be interested in. That's for US price. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so yeah, I think I answered your question, but yeah, it can change drastically, and I don't think you can go wrong at any of these prices right now. Obviously, Tilray offering a lot more upside potential and reward than MSOS, right? Like if MSOS goes back to its all-time high from current price and you entered now, that's about 563% of upside. If Tilray goes back to its all-time high, which the IPO craze was pretty insane, that's 146x, so 14,633%. Meaning if you put $1,000 into Tilray today and it went back to all-time high, that $1,000 would be worth about $146,000. Okay, so how many $1,000 investments do you need to make life-changing wealth? Okay, well you're like, oh, there's no way this thing's going back to 300, or at least not anytime soon. Okay, let's use February 2021 highs there on the hopes of the U.S. legalizing. That would be about a 31x. So $1,000 investment at current levels into about 32,000. Rod, could you look at Love? Its stock is at 80 cents, Patrick. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yeah, so Love's one of those names where, it still doesn't have nationwide distribution. It just got into Alberta. It's just starting to gain traction. People don't know about it. It's not listed on a U.S. major exchange. It's not even listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange. It's on the TSXV, right? So, yeah, until it's on the TSX, until it's uplisting and on a U.S. major exchange, we have support coming up here at 75 cents. It's definitely a laggard. We're dropping to monthly lower lows while a lot of names are breaking out on the monthly time frame and seeing upside, where we're dropping to lower lows where most names are going to higher highs. So comparatively to the rest of the sector, it's very, very weak. But that being said, it could be a nice laggard. I own a lot of it in my portfolio as well. I'm very bullish on it. They're not even in the Atlantic provinces here in Canada as well. So, and then imagine once they enter the US, and then maybe they do something internationally. Maybe they enter edibles, maybe they enter beverages, who knows, right? But this is one name that it's profitable. And if you're into value investing and long-term investing, this could be a nice name. But they're definitely a merger and acquisition target as well. So I don't really have any major thoughts on it right now. I've done interviews with the CFO in the past, Nicholas Sosiak, so you can check those out. But I'm basically just buying and holding it. It's I think it was in my top 5 MJ holdings. I don't know if it is anymore because I've been doing a lot of buying. I'll do another update video on that soon, maybe at some point here in 2024 over the next few months. But yeah, it's probably going to run at the end, right? Once we get the DEA news, it'll probably run. And then once we start to see profit taking and like a top being set on the tier 1s, the tier 3s will run. Love, Canara Biotech's probably like a tier 2, I would say. But, just because no one knows about it, I would consider it more of like a tier 3. But the upside here potential is massive, right? If you entered now at current price, we go back to the all-time highs there, that's about 135%. But, it's probably not going to stop there. And then you can look at LOVFF as well on the OTC. So, a couple 100%, but I don't think it's going to stop there. I think this is a sleeping giant for sure. But, not really much to say about this one. I would just be patient. If you're holding it like me, I don't lose sleep over it. I think I'm pretty much packed. My bags are packed. I have enough of it that I'm comfortable with having. And if we go back up to all-time highs or something like that, then, I won't have any regrets, right? I have enough that I'm comfortable with. And if it all went to zero, I don't think it's going to go to zero. If it all did, I would be okay anyway, right? I didn't invest any more than I was willing to lose into it. But I think you just have to be patient with this one. No one knows what it is. Like I said, it's not even on the Canadian major exchange, TSX, and then the US, right? So there's tons of growth catalysts as well, and they're still activating grow zones in the Valleyfield facility. So it's going to be a crawl, walk, run, and I think we're still in the crawl phase. Thanks for all you do, Rod. Says, this too shall pass. Amazing stuff. You bet. My pleasure. Thanks so much for your comments and your support. It really does mean a lot. So thank you very much. If I get rich because of Tilray, I'm going to buy a super sticker for 500 euros. Well, I appreciate the support, Oscar. Yeah, I look forward to the day where we can all celebrate our riches. Sometimes I use a VPN like I'm in Canada and Africa, but I'm not. Yeah, that's a great idea to do it, right? Like protect your identity online, especially if you're like transacting in crypto and things like that, where you have SIM swaps and you want to make yourself have a less of a target on your back as possible, right? Yes, Altria. Okay, yeah, perfect. What exchange is Cureleaf on? I couldn't find it on Robinhood. Yeah, you can't because, and that's an example, right? Until these U.S. MSOs and producers in the U.S. are listed on U.S. major exchanges, you're telling me you're in the U.S. and you can't even buy a U.S. company. What does that tell you? That tells you that when we get the DEA news, the money and the institutional capital and the gains and the attention is probably going to be on the U.S. major exchanges name. Because if you're going to Robinhood and you're trying to find Cureleaf, you're like, what's the deal? But you can find Tilray, you can find Canopy, you can find High Tide, you can find SNDL and Organogram, right? And then once U.S. names uplist to the U.S. major exchanges, then I think it's, there's going to be a lot of interest in the U.S. names, right? That's where the money's going to be playing, right? For example, one day back in March, Tilray had $2.2 billion traded just on the U.S. ticker alone. $2.2 billion. And for comparison, Trulieve only had I think it was 13 million or $15 million, right? 15 million versus 2.2 billion is a huge difference, right? So, yeah, that's why I hold a lot more in LPs than I do MSOs currently. But as we start to see uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ, then I'm probably going to be more like 50-50 at that point, right? And there's going to be winners and losers both sides of the border. There's going to be winners and losers in South America, Africa, Asia, right? So all over Europe, there's going to be winners and losers all over the place. But I would suspect most of the global players are going to be in the U.S. and then there'll be a couple LPs and then a couple other international ones as well. That's what I'm sort of banking on. How about Decibel? Thanks. Yeah, we can take a quick look at Decibel. So DB. Yeah, this is kind of like Love, right? Not I would say more people know Decibel than they do Love, like Cannara Biotech. Yeah, we're close to seeing a monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross actually on Decibel, which would be the second time in history. And we have a nice floor here. Like, how many bottoms is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bottoms at 12 cents. So 12 cents key support, then 10 psychological, then 6.5 cents. And resistance is at 18.5 cents. That's actually a double top there. So very strong resistance. And then after that, 36. So if we can get above 18.5, it's monthly uptrend confirmed with a higher low and higher high. And a break of that double top resistance. And then more than likely a massive move up to around 36 cents. After that, $4. So yeah, this is another name that offers a lot of reward as well. If we go back to all-time highs from here, that's about a 29x, so $1,000 into $29,000. And that's just on the venture exchange as well on TSX. So could uplist to the TSC, right, Toronto Stock Exchange, and then U.S. major exchanges as well after that. So, and I hear nothing but great things about the products as well. So definitely one that's flying under the radar, I think. What's your feelings on staking? I don't like staking. I just don't trust it enough. Like, there's so much shiny things, right, in crypto. They, yielding and staking, and like staking just rewards the rich, right? If you have more money, you get more rewards, right? So I don't really like the idea of staking. Plus, it probably could be a security because you're expecting profits, right? In a common enterprise. And that Howey test of the prongs of the Howey test seems to be satisfied when you're talking about staking. And yeah, I mean, generating yield, maybe if it's through Flare, like F assets and things like that. Like if you're staking your XRP on Flare, well, there's no common enterprise. If it was Ripple or XRP, like the foundation or Ripple itself, right, there could be some sketchiness going on there with a common enterprise. But if it's Flare, which has no relation to Ripple or XRP really, then yeah, that might be okay. I might like to stake some of my XRP and some of those F assets eventually on Flare, but I'll wait until maybe a year or two, and then just buying and holding is enough for me, right? Like crypto offers like 100x gains, and look at Bitcoin; it's been the best investment or best performing asset like ever. So you don't need to, like, imagine if you bought it at like a penny or like 5 cents or $1, and then it goes to $70,000. Who cares about a few like 2, 3, 4, 8, 12% APY? It's like, you could have made like hundreds of millions of dollars just by buying and holding it. Plus, you don't have to like, loan it out to someone and then they go bankrupt. Like, there's just so much risk with it. I don't trust it yet. Maybe in the future, like let's say XRP goes to like $100 or like $10, and I take some big profits, and a bunch of my other cryptos pop off in an alt season. Maybe on some consolidation, I'll look to stake then. But as of right now, I don't think it's worth the risk. But I think it's definitely, kind of where the future is going. Irwin live at New York. It's good for Tilray USA market. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're headquartered in New York too, right? So like they're like right on Wall Street pretty much. So yeah, Tilray's like the Wall Street darling in my opinion. But yeah, definitely good for Tilray, and they get a lot of exposure, right? You don't see like Fox and CNBC and BNN, like every time there's a news catalyst, like Tilray's on all of them, right? You just don't see that with all the other names. And yeah, Tilray's definitely the Wall Street darling. And again, that one day in March, it traded $2.2 billion just in one day. And that's not in factoring in the NEO or all the other exchanges, like the international exchanges, the TSX, right? Like, it's mind-boggling. Pablo Zwanek likes Decibel. Can you look at that chart, please? Yeah, so I already looked at that one. It's definitely a great company, I think. Nothing bad to say about it. I do own a small bit of it as well for full transparency. I'm a trucker. I own 1,000 shares of Tilray, and I just started a position in Tilray. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, if you start diversifying as well, I would encourage maybe diversifying. MSOS is a great diversification option, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, anywhere around these prices, Oscar, I don't think is a bad. Just starting in MSOS, yeah. So again, maybe you want to wait maybe mid-7s on MSOS, but you also have to ask yourself, what if DA approves Schedule 3 tomorrow and prices go up to $10, $12? Are you going to feel FOMO, fear of missing out? Maybe you want to add a little bit more and save some cash on the sides in case we dip. That's another way you can start to scale in, right? Like, I want to add some MSOS as well, but I'm kind of waiting for lower prices, maybe back down around $7 again. But if it goes to $20 or $30 tomorrow, I'm okay with it. I have enough in my portfolio that I'm not gonna beat myself up too much about it. So I guess you kind of just have to do some soul searching and just thinking about it, right? A lot of investing in markets are very forward looking. Like, you have to kind of look in the future, right? Okay, will do. I found your channel around September 2023. Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing. I remember you saying you used to work at Invesco or something so I was like, he's the real deal. Real deal, yeah. So I used to work at Invesco basically just as a junior analyst, and kind of working with portfolio managers and dealing with clients. And, I had people call in, and, it was like shortly after, the 2008 financial crisis. And, it was like, 2010, 2012. And like some people were down like 60% on their retirement accounts, right? And I remember one guy calling me. He's like, "Can I talk to one of your senior scam artists, please?" And I was like, I don't know what do I say to that. But yeah, one thing I learned very, very quickly at Invesco was, I took the Canadian investment course and I passed it. I was basically one course away from becoming a financial advisor. That's what I thought I was going to do. I thought I was going to have my own clients and my own portfolio, my own record, my own clients, my own list of assets that I would have under my management, right? But I learned very, very quickly that it's stressful enough managing your own money, let alone managing other people's. And that was the last thing I wanted to have to deal with, was someone calling me up saying, "Can I speak to your senior scam artist, please?" It's like, don't you know that investments are risky and can go down? They can do one of three things, up, down, or sideways, and there's just as much chance they can go up as down. And if you give enough time, it's probably going to go back up. And did you buy it at the top? Because a lot of these are financial advisors too, right? They just want the the MER, the management expense ratio, right? They want that fee, and that fee that they charge you for selling a stock, right, or managing your money. And they don't care if you buy it at an all-time high. You know what they'll tell you? Oh, well, you're not looking to retire for 20 years, so it'll be higher in 20 years. Just buy it now. If it goes down, buy more. You know, they don't have your best interests at heart, right? But at the end of the day, they're just trying to feed their families as well. So can you really blame them? No. Do you have to like it? Absolutely not. So it is what it is. Hello from Montreal. Bonjour, bonjour. Hope your week is going well, man. Thank you. Same to you, Justin. Not sure if you did Tilray yet. Curious on your thoughts if the bounce happened or might go lower for a bit. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, so I did go over that one quite a bit. Somebody, Health Rennie, asked, like, I think it was the fourth question in. So maybe if you go back to like the 20-minute mark or like 30-minute mark is probably when that happened. But I did a market update and everything, and then I got into the chat. So if you just go like where I started going into the chat and look there, like once I started interacting and reading the comments, it's like just around the first of that. So, but closing in on 2 hours, and I got some stuff that I want to do, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. Really enjoy your videos and appreciate all your hard work. Thank you. My pleasure. I'm glad to hear that people really do appreciate it. And like I said, it goes both ways, having the support from the community. And, you know, some days, you know, you're just behind a camera and a microphone and a computer, and, you know, you kind of start to question, it's like, am I really helping people? And that's realistically all I wanted to do when I started this channel, was just help people. And like I said, I used to work in Invesco, so I'd rather teach people how to manage their own money than manage it for them. And to be honest, you know, people are they're so used to being spoon-fed everything, right? Like, if we just learn how to do things ourselves, you don't need a financial advisor. Like, I went to school with some of these financial advisors, and I did way better than them on the tests, and I seen them in class. Like, they're quite low IQ. Like, you know, I don't really. And then now he's working at my bank. You know, I seen him working at the bank, and he's like, "Oh, do you want me to manage your money?" And I'm like, "Dude, we were in the same course. Why would I pay you when I scored better on my test than you did?" You know, like, I already know this. So, and, you know, it just, but like, people who don't know anything about finance, okay, you can have a financial advisor, but, you know, I'd just rather teach people how to manage it themselves, and it's not that hard, right? And, you know, there's nothing better than like feeling that sense of accomplishment and reward when you learn things, right? So just having that empowerment and that fulfilling feeling, right? And it's not that hard, right? Once you start, you know, it's very overwhelming. That's like kind of by design, right? The financial markets are meant to be, you know, so many things flying at you any direction all the time, 24/7. Things are just going like a million miles a minute. And most of that is just to drown you out and to fill you with so much noise that you just get overwhelmed and you don't know what to think, right? But if you just keep things simple, I just think simplicity is like, and patience is probably the two biggest virtues that you can have in financial markets. So definitely glad to hear that. Sounds good. I'll check it out later. Enjoy your night and the rest of your week. Thank you very much. Absolutely. You as well. All right, thanks so much, everybody. I still see we have a couple dozen people on the stream after almost 2 hours, closing in on 2 hours. So I didn't really set a time frame on this one. I knew it was probably going to be a while and a pretty long video. But if you're just tuning in, I highly encourage you to go back. There's also a way you can speed up just click the little settings wheel, and you can do 1.5x as well. I know I talk a little fast sometimes, but as I mentioned, closing in on 2 hours, and I got lots to say and not a lot of time to say it. So pardon me if I speak pretty fast, but you can also slow it down as well. You can do like 0.75x speed. So yeah, pretty cool that we have that feature. So going into it there, hope you have a fantastic evening. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you again on the next video.